Hi, I'm Jude from headphone.org. I love the sound of well-designed tube audio gear. I've owned some classic vintage tube gear and still have and enjoy a lot of modern tube audio gear. For the last couple of years, WA8 Audio has been working on a new tube amp I've been waiting for. They've shown prototypes at meets and shows, and starting today, it's officially available for sale. So on this episode of HeadFi TV, we're going to talk about the new WA8 Audio WA8 Eclipse battery-operated tube headphone amp. What may be the best sounding hi-fi system I've ever heard use tube amplification. It was back in 2002 at Home Entertainment Show in New York City at the Joseph Audio exhibit. The tube amps, as I recall, were the huge Manley Neoclassic 250-watt monoblocks driving Joseph Audio Pearl speakers. To this day, my brain has never been so convinced of the presence of the musicians in the room with me by a hi-fi system more than that setup in that room did. It was Louis Armstrong playing St. James Infirmary on vinyl, and eyes closed, my senses were convinced that Louis Armstrong was in the room with me. Now, some of the very best sounding headphone systems I've ever heard have also used tubes in their circuits, like the new Sennheiser Orpheus HE1, the old Sennheiser Orpheus system, my custom Frank Cooter tube amp for Stax headphone, and others. This is another Frank Cooter amp for dynamic headphones, and this is the WA8 Audio WA7. Again, for the amazing sound quality they can offer, I have a soft spot for excellent tube amps. Why tubes? Tell me what you want about measurements, numbers, specs, and things like that, but some of the most realistic, most feels like flesh, sounds like the real thing sound that I've heard has had vacuum tubes in the signal path before it. The answers and reasons and the resulting discussion and debate could fill not just one entire HeadFi TV episode, but perhaps several episodes. In short, though, like many other tube audio enthusiasts, the richness of tone, the minimizing or elimination of unnatural edginess, the dynamic capabilities, these are some of the things that often guide me in the direction of good tube gear. Now, this tube gear here, like this big amp here and this WA8 Audio WA7, I travel a lot and I can't take this stuff with me. Even the compact WA8 Audio WA7 here is simply too bulky and too heavy to take with me, and it has a large, heavy power supply that's not even shown here. Now, there are some excellent solid-state tube hybrid portable amps available, but I've always wanted a pure, all-tube design that I could take with me, and now I've got it with the WA8 Audio WA8 Eclipse. The WA8 is not a hybrid design. Its audio circuit is a pure tube, Class A, transformer-coupled design. The WA8 Audio WA8 has three miniature tubes, two 6S31B tubes and a single 6021 tube, and the WA8 can be operated in either a two-tube or three-tube mode, which I'll get to in a minute. The WA8 is a single-ended triode design that runs pure Class A, so it runs quite warm. Again, the WA8's output is transformer-coupled, and in such a design, the design and quality of the output transformers is of paramount importance, and WA8 Audio did spend a lot of time getting these transformers exactly where they wanted them. The WA8's output transformers are in-house, they're nickel core with OCC single crystal copper, and they're designed to be ultra-efficient and offering high bandwidth and low loss. In terms of inputs, the WA8 Eclipse has a digital USB input and also an analog input via a stereo mini jack. There are two headphone outputs, one mini and 1/4 inch. Now, one thing that's very unique about the WA8 Audio WA8 is that it operates via external power or off-the-grid battery operation. The rechargeable lithium-ion battery offers up to 4 hours of play, and the WA8 can be used while charging. As I understand it, though, even when the WA8 is plugged into wall power, the audio circuit is drawing power from the battery for cleaner, quieter power. And the WA8 is very quiet in terms of self-noise, which I'll get to in just a minute. The WA8 itself weighs about 1,200 grams, so while not super lightweight, it's perhaps the lightest and easily the most portable transformer-coupled full-tube amp I've ever used. I have a week-long trip coming up, and the WA8 Eclipse is coming with me, and I'm thrilled to know that I've got the sound quality of a full-sized all-tube amp with me for the duration. Now, last week, we had an industry visitor here at our office, and he brought his company's upcoming flagship headphone to listen to and to compare with other flagship headphones we have here. Now, of course, I can't say anything more about that headphone yet, but I can say that we tried it with several different amps here, and one of the ones that we just kept coming back to that we both fixated on because of the sound of the pairing was their headphone with the WA8 Eclipse. Now, one headphone I can talk about that we've used quite a bit with the WA8 is Sennheiser's new HD800S, and it's an absolutely gorgeous pairing. I've also listened with the Hi-Fi Man HE1000 and the Enigma Acoustics Dharma D1000, also with lovely results. These just happen to be the 4 full-size headphones I've used so far with the WA8 and the time I've had with it, and all benefit beautifully from the harmonic richness coming from the WA8. It's like it gives these headphones meteor sonic images in airier acoustics, just as I'd expect from awesome tube gear. With these 4 headphones, the WA8 sounds like a premium desktop tube audio system that just happens to be compact because that's what it is. What's also impressive about the WA8 and other WU Audio tube amps I've used is how quiet its circuit is in terms of self-noise. Simply put, it sounds to me like there is none. Even with my Fidier MH334 custom in-ear monitors, which they're like noise hounds able to sniff self-noise out of just about any system I plug them into, the WA8 Eclipse is essentially dead silent. The WA8's low noise floor and seemingly perfect channel balance, even at the very lowest volume settings, has encouraged me to try a couple of my favorite sensitive in-ear monitors with it, which isn't something I'd typically consider doing with other full tube amps. The Fidier MH334, which is on the more neutral side, it gets richer and a bit bloomier across the spectrum with the WA8, which takes the MH334 a bit out of its typical character. But it's in a way that I love having the option to turn to when the mood strikes. Increasing the WA8's versatility is the ability to run in either 2-tube or 3-tube mode. When run in 2-tube mode, output power drops a bit, which you might want to try if you have super sensitive headphones or in-ears. It also changes the WA8's tonality a bit, dialing the richness of the 3-tube mode back a bit. Now, my preferences have so far favored the 3-tube mode, but over time with different headphones I'll be trying both modes. In terms of output power into 50 ohms, the WA8 outputs up to 350 milliwatts per channel in 3-tube mode and up to 270 milliwatts per channel in 2-tube mode. Now, adding to the WA8's versatility is the fact that it's also a very nice USB DAC. Its DAC section is built around the ESS 9018 K2M, and WU Audio's engineering team has spent a lot of time optimizing its performance. It's capable of decoding PCM up to 24-bit 384 kHz, and while I've seen absolutely no word of official support for DSD from WU Audio for the WA8, I've been able to run DSD over DOP to the WA8 with no issues. Again though, there's no mention of official DSD support from WU Audio, so don't assume it'll work with all computers and all software, but on my Mac using Rune software, DSD works. The WU Audio WA8 Eclipse is available in anodized black and space gray for $1,799 and in this gold color for $1,899. Now, over the last couple of years, I've listened to some prototypes as they've developed the WA8, and I'm thrilled that they iterated and stuck to it for as long as they did because the final product is outstanding. Again, as far as I'm concerned, the WU Audio WA8 Eclipse is a desktop tube headphone amp that just happens to be compactly sized, battery-powered, and transportable, and I think it'll serve as one of my main tube amps for some time to come. Thanks for watching this episode of HeadFi TV. We'll see you next time.